Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday live stream. We got a lot of things to go over, so let's just jump right into it. First of all, this morning, I don't know if everybody was aware, but there was a huge outage for all the internet services, and just shows you how important decentralization can truly be when you have a single point of failure. Apparently, this is what happened this morning. I got to tell you, I was freaking out myself because a lot of the sites that I usually use, like X or X.com, formerly known as Twitter, and also ChatGPT, were both down. And because yesterday I had gone through a potential hack, I was thinking to myself, man, maybe they did get me because nothing was working. And this was, it's about Cloudflare. This is a failed centralized bottleneck, and the internet was out for about an hour or 2 hours. Some of the apps would work, some of them wouldn't. And this is from the CTO. He said, I won't mince words. Today we failed our customers. And it just takes this little thing, a little upgrade, integration, and boom, everything just goes down without a fight. And it was a latent bug in a service underpinning our bot mitigation capability starting to crash after a routine configuration change we made. So imagine that. And, X, which has, hundreds of millions of users throughout the world. On top of it, you've also got ChatGPT, one of the largest AI platforms in the world, and just down just like that because of a centralized point of failure. So I know we talk about different things here, but I got to tell you, a decentralized way to do these things will be a heck of a lot better. And for me, I actually had to go through ChatGPT on the app because the app actually worked, but on the browser it did not. And it took me through everything. So if you ever have a question, especially about like hacks and what's going on, what I do is just do the same thing. Just go to ChatGPT and say, is this a hacker? Is this a scam? Is this down because of something that I screwed up on? And kind of go from there. It kind of eases your mind. But that was just what's happened today. Let's talk about what's happening throughout the last so many hours. So just like the thumbnail and title suggests, we're going to take a look at some altcoins that outperform Bitcoin. I know this is hard to believe because we've talked about Bitcoin all the time, how great it is and how people are just gobbling it up and these sovereign wealth funds and institutions and blah, 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 and everything's great. But, we have to take a step back. And now that we're not running so quickly and we're just seeing the market essentially erode right in front of our eyes, it's good to take a breather and see what exactly is going on. And I got to tell you, today is a little bit of a bump. Some people might say this is a dead cat bounce. Some people will say this is the initial recovery. It's anybody's guess. Everybody out here is guessing. They're making as many educated guesses as they can. But today you can see, or excuse me, as far as like yesterday with the ETFs, we had another day of outflows, roughly $254 million. And then of course that was Monday. And then last week was even worse, almost over $1 billion, as a matter of fact, 866 million for Friday, 278 million, and a gradual 524 positive and so on and so forth. So you're taking a look at this, you're like, man, I wonder what's going on, what's happening behind the scenes. And there's a lot of different on-chain analysis you can take a look at. It'll give you a good guesstimation. But I got to tell you, this one, it stuck out with me because this is just another example of price predictions gone wrong. Standard Charter says Bitcoin sell-off likely is over. Eyes a year-end rally. Now, I personally think that we could see a nice little rally in Q4. I know some people, especially even in the comment section, are like, nope, it's over, it's done. We're going to drop 80 to 90% just like we always do. Hold on, it's going to be okay. So Standard Charter says this. In a Tuesday note, Kendrick, one of their top analysts, said the latest drop matches the third major sell-off in the current cycle, pointing to chart pattern showing similar percentage pullbacks. It's a simple argument, but the best ones often are. Kendrick added that several market indicators have reset to extreme levels. And of course, we can see the fear and greed index. I think we're at like 10 or 11, which is extreme fear right now. And usually when you're in this extreme fear, and you've seen these over time, it's not a bad time to buy, but that's up to you. I can't tell you what to do, but just saying, every time it seems like it's an extreme fear, for me, it works out pretty well over the long haul. Anyhow, one example is MicroStrategy's net asset value multiple, or MNAV, a metric comparing the company's market cap with the market to value ratio, or Bitcoin holdings. And it says it's fallen back to 1. It's actually fallen below 1.0. I think it's at 0.86, somewhere around there. He said these absolute zero readings suggest the market has hit a bottom. That's debatable. I think this is enough to signify the sell-off is over and to eventually disprove those who think the halving cycle remains valid. A rally into year end is my base case. Well, I'll tell you, poly market, usually pretty accurate, especially for sports betting, if you're into that type of thing, or for presidential elections or any elections recently, they pretty much called it. And what's they're saying that what price will Bitcoin hit in 2025? 68% is thinking, yeah, I can hit 100,000. 34% say 110, and only 16% say 120. And then you got the 9 and 5% degenerate gamblers saying, yeah, 130 to 140. Actually, looking at this, I think my friend Bobby should put some money in this, because that's, I think I could see that. Put like a, $10 on there, or whatever you think is low, 10,000. I don't know what kind of baller you are, but you could do something like this. I mean, I can see it definitely, but 100, 110,000, I'd be happy with that too, especially since we're at 93 or somewhere around there today. But just to follow up in Standard Chartered, these are the stories that people will just leave and say, that's it. It's, there's another analyst saying it's going to be great, so it's going to be great. Just hold on. Because it seems like a lot of these analysts, they could be in YouTube, because it just seems like the sentiment pulls them either way. This was Standard Chartered's price predictions going from April. And April 28, 2025, they said, yeah, we can see 120,000 by end of Q2. Seems reasonable. May 8th, Q2 target of 120,000 was deemed too low, because, things were going up. So like, maybe we could go higher. July 2nd, 135,000. October 2nd to 4th, 135,000. October 6th, when we hit 126,000, like, you know what? $200,000 year end of 2020 target. That's what we're going to say. And then October 23rd, dip below 100,000, but reinforces the bull case toward 200K. And now, of course, we're saying back to 150K. So again, it's just another thing of like price predictions. Again, remember, everybody is out here just guessing. That's pretty much what it is, educated guesses, and we'll see how it goes. But I would say you're going to see on-chain analysis like this. Whale wallets fell to a yearly low of 1,354 on October 27th, when Bitcoin is trading around 114,000. So looks like whales were selling, but as of yesterday, this number spiked a whopping 2.2% to sit at 1,384. I'm using quick math here. That's like a whopping 30 more wallets that are whale status in levels not seen in 4 months. I got to tell you, stuff like this almost makes me want to say this is just copium. But, congratulations, Glassnode, and whoever reported this. It looks like you got 30 more whales. Maybe we're going in the right direction. It's anybody's guess. But there is some good things, and I shouldn't be so cynical. VanEck Solana ETF goes live. I think it went live yesterday, as a matter of fact. Flood of crypto ETFs have begun. It looks like Grayscale is going to have their own Doge ETF. This was yesterday. And many more ETFs expected to go live over next week. Like Bitwise and Grayscale's ETFs, VSOL offers staking yield, where Solana is locked up in the blockchain and rewards. And it's also waived at 0.3% fee until February 17th. So I think that's a pretty good thing. Oh, this isn't it. Let me go to the ETFs of Solana. Yeah. And you got VanEck, the VSOL. So not only do you get, well, it's all four, matter of fact. It's Bitwise, VanEck, Fidelity, and Grayscale. The staking is right there. Not only do you get the upside potential of Solana, but you can stake it and you get those rewards on top of it. I got to tell you, this is what the Ethereum ETF was supposed to be, but unfortunately, I think Gary Gensler was still in charge at that point. I know it was in 2024. I believe it was July 2024. Correct me in the comment section when Ethereum had their ETF, but I think Gary was still in charge, and he said, nope, we're not doing that. This is what the Ethereum ETF was supposed to be. And I got to tell you, looking at Bitwise, they seeded it, and I don't see any negative flows, all positive. So we'll see where that goes, and that's good for the altcoins. Also, something that I don't talk about too much, Polygon. It looks like Revolut, which is it's called a neobank. It looks like they're going to be integrating Polygon. And now, just so you know, Revolut, they have 65 million customers globally, which people will just stop there. But as far as like assets under management, it's very paltry. It's not really that much whatsoever. Like JP Morgan has like 4 trillion assets under management, and they have, I know they have over 100 million customers. Or no, excuse me. No, excuse me, 66, 67 million customers, which is right in line with Revolut. But even though they have all these customers, their assets under management are like just nothing compared to them. But I mean, they are globally renowned, so I guess that is a good thing. But just Polygon's going to be embedded in their zero fee remittance, Polygon staking, and in-app crypto card payments, MasterCard, D-Card, all that good stuff. And Revolut has tapped Polygon as its go-to stack for stablecoin transfers, payments, and trading. I can tell you that's good, because if you take a look at as far as the stablecoin volume, there's about 3.2 billion worth of stablecoins have been issued on Polygon, according to the blocks data, which I guess is great. But if you look at it, you're almost at 300 billion. So that's like 1%, less than 1% is on Polygon. That doesn't seem too great. Again, congratulations, Polygon holders. I have a very little bag of that, but I would just say that, this is good for them, and maybe it'll take off later. But I always talk about the best, which is that's where all the stablecoin rails are: Binance, B, Ethereum, E, Solana, and Tron. But that's where it is right now. So we'll see how it goes. But that would lead me to my last point, which is the whole point of this video, which I'm getting to right now. The altcoins that have outperformed Bitcoin. I know this is going to be like, people are like, what are you talking about? I want you to go to Ben's website. I want you to sign up. I want you to use this DCA simulation. It's free. And you can go along with me at some point, or you can do it yourself later. But if you DCA, just dollar cost average Bitcoin every day, starting on January 1st, 2025, and you stop today and you put in $100. Okay, that seems like a lot. Let's just put $10. Okay, now everybody can breathe better. It's just $10 a day. Percentages are percentages, doesn't matter. But if you did this and just bought $10 a day every day of Bitcoin, you'd be doing pretty decent, especially like right around October 6th. You're actually at 23%. Congratulations. But as of today, all that hard work, you're down 9%. I know people will say, well, who cares? Because Bitcoin's the future and it's the greatest thing. I'm with you. I am. I'm just telling you that, this is where you're at. And it's just kind of, it's a wacky cycle, because look at the outcome. So let's compare this. The same, everything is the same. The starting date's the same. The ending date's the same. The $10 a day is the same. Let's just check Ethereum. You outperformed Bitcoin. Congratulations. So you started here on January 1st, 2025. And then as you were coming up, I mean, you're doing really good. You're up 88% on August 12th. What's this? October 6th, you're almost up 75%. And then today, even though things are sucking, you're still up 12%. Congratulations. So for the year, and of course, we can look at any metrics. I can cherry pick a ton of metrics. I'm just looking at this year, because so many times we just talk about like people who've been here 2 cycles or 3 cycles, like myself. And we kind of forget the people who are new. And I'm just telling you, like, hey, altcoins weren't a bad bet. And that's Ethereum. What about XRP? No, I'm sorry. You didn't make it. You bought $10 a day and you're down 12%. Congratulations. And then let's see what else. How about BNB? One of my best picks. You would have done really good if you would have sold October 13th. You're up 85%. But as of today, even with the monstrous dip, you're still up 28%. And that's just you buying every day. And you can put this that's what's great about this tool. You can put daily, you can put weekly, $10 a week, you're still up 25%, but it doesn't matter. Daily, week, whatever else. So you're up on Binance, you're up on Ethereum. That's my BE. How about S, Solana? Okay, you got me on this one. Solana, you're not doing so great. And maybe it's not the future of finance yet, who knows? But you're actually down, wow, 16%. That sucks. So that's Solana for a full year. And then, of course, BEST, Tron. How you doing with Tron? Not bad. You were up 27%, and now you're just up 5%. So I mean, look, the best case scenario, pun intended, B-E-S-T, you just missed out on Solana, and congratulations, you outperformed Bitcoin for the year. What about, I'm just curious, the new ETF for Dogecoin? Well, hopefully that works out for you, down 22% this year. All that work for a year. And how about Cardano? Man, look at that. 35% in a year. Whew. Yeah, well, maybe if they get things rolling, it'll work out. Let's see what else. How about Polygon? Oh, here's another one. White Bitcoin, which is like now ranked number 13 somehow. I don't even know what it does. Yeah, you're up 45% today. Amazing. And I don't even know what that thing's even a viable token. Of course, people will tell me how wrong I am. And that's cool. And I'm looking for, I want to see what Polygon is. Huh. Maybe if we call it Matic. Okay, there you go. Matic. Wow. Down 35%. So yeah, there's some altcoins that have drastically outperformed Bitcoin for this year. Now, if we go back 2 years and 3 years, sure, which we've done many a time. I was just taking a look at this year because that's what everybody's concerned at. And that's it. So tell me what you think about that in the comments section. And lastly, I wanted to go over this this scam report. This will only take a couple seconds. This is do you know how people steal or have stolen private keys in the past? This is how. Crypto private key theft is now big business. Here's what you want to know. And it's kind of long, but I'll just say this. Let's see. What? I don't need that. This study pointed to several tools being used, such as malware info stealers, and this thing called seed phrase finders. Apparently, you can buy that on the dark web for a couple $100. I don't know how to do it. I just hear it's out there. Seed phrase finders. They scan files, documents, cloud backups, and chat histories to quickly extract a user's private key, effectively giving attackers full control over their assets. I should have probably done this one first because it's probably the most important. If you have ever written down or text out or put in a document anywhere where you had to use a keyboard or your key phrases, it's stored somewhere. It's stored somewhere in your computer. It's stored somewhere in your text message. It's stored somewhere in Google. I don't care if you typed it out on your keyboard and printed it and then deleted that file. It is in your computer somewhere. And all these hackers do is they buy this couple $100 device or, software. They get access to your computer somehow. There's tons of ways to do it. I almost got hacked yesterday. And they just extract that file. And all it does is it looks for these 12 words. And however it uses it for either AI or the software itself, easily can find 12 or 24 words. Extracts them, takes a look and says, does this have any value? And then boom, they just put in that seed phrase and another cold storage device. Just like that, all your stuff is gone. So I'm just going to tell you right now, if you think about it and you realize, oh shoot, I did type that out, that seed phrase, that mnemonic phrase at one point over the last 5 years, it's in your computer. I don't care if you have an old computer and you got a new computer, you still transferred files to your new computer. I need you to move every single piece of your crypto or digital assets out of your cold storage device, either back to the exchange for a little bit until you get a new cold storage device, or get a new cold storage device and just transfer immediately. That's all I want you to do. Anyhow, that's it for today. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. That will do it. Now let's get into a little Q&A and answer your questions to the best of my abilities. And here we go. Let's see. Dudex. What are the next Solanas? Sui probably is. Sui's a good project. I own a boatload of it. Me and Raul Pal. The difference is I had to buy it. And I think it'll do just great. Just depends how long it's going to take. I mean, look at Zcash. Everybody said that was the future like 7 years ago. And now all of a sudden it comes back and rip-roars to life. Who'd have thunk it, right? Let's see. Whales buy everything. Penlife says everything between $1 to $1 million is possible in Q4. This is very true. I find price predictions quite funny. And, I got no problem with people giving ranges. That's okay. Like ranges seem like realistic, like, okay, at the end of the year, I can see between 100 and 150. Seems reasonable, right? But people want those, but that doesn't give you clicks and views. What gives you views is $250,000 by the end of the year, $350,000 by the end of the year, whatever outrageous thing it is, because people like to focus on that. But I think people are getting tired of that, and they're just kind of tuning out. That's what you get for putting up trash like that. Let's see. You're on thin ice. Ah, that's a bummer. Someone's already spamming the network. Hello, everybody. AVAX ETF, we'll see. Yeah, Revolut, I used them for a small amount of time as my bank. I liked them. I didn't really have too much of an issue with it. It's just, actually, I didn't really have much of an issue with, I don't even know why I actually, oh, I remember why I stopped using them. I stopped using them because when I moved to Puerto Rico, I needed a Puerto Rican bank, and they had a bad integration with Revolut. So I just let them go. And that was why. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Someone told me Europeans are no longer allowed to stake some of the products on Coinbase. That's a bummer. Gas fee fees, I'm going to tell you right now, for any Europeans that you know, or if you personally have this issue, if you have Cardano, there's no reason why it should be on the exchange. Actually, there's no reason why any of this stuff should be on the exchange. If you're European, or if you're an American or Canadian, or wherever you're from, you should follow the rules. And the rules are very simple. The third rule is don't leave things on exchanges. So, I mean, gas fee, I'll answer your question. If you have anything on there and you're in Europe and they don't allow you to stake it, take it off, put it in a cold storage device, like a TANGEM, one of my favorite, link in the description. It's an affiliate link. So, I get a little kickback for that. If you can't stand kickbacks to me, that's okay. Just go right to TANGEM. Grab yourself a cold storage wallet or a ledger or whatever you want. Anyhow, when you put that into a cold storage device, you can stake it. You can stake it on TANGEM, you can stake it on a ledger. What I would recommend is that you go to the D.A.N stake pool and stake it with me. Well, you know what's great about Cardano? They crushed it with their staking process because it's essentially liquid staking. So you can have it in any cold storage device and you can stake it directly. And there's no like cool down periods or like, okay, it's going to be 7 days before you can move it, or we'll get it back to you in 28 days, some nonsense stuff. It's immediately, you don't have to like remove it. You just start using it and then it just goes. So, I mean, what's not to love? And of course, it stays in your wallet as you're staking it. I mean, it's the greatest thing of all time. Anyhow, it's a long answer to say that sorry, Europeans, don't leave things on exchanges, use a cold storage device, stake with D.A.N. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Leo, hey Rob, what's your thoughts on midnight? I think it's going to be great. Privacy for Cardano users and also on throughout different ecosystems. So I like the whole thing with privacy. I think one of the reasons why like Zcash is doing so well is because it's the ethos essentially of crypto holders. They don't want to be tracked. They want to not have Big Brother overseeing them. And unfortunately, as people have come to learn, that every transaction that you do on the blockchain is trackable, way more trackable than cash. That's for sure. And of course, debit and credit cards. So like with Zcash, that's why I think it's pumping so much, because people are getting sick of being, the whole Big Brother thing. So about midnight, essentially this is going to be a privacy ecosystem, and it's starting off with Cardano. I think it'll do just fantastic and great. And us as a stake pool operator with Cardano, we will be supporting that moving forward. So let's see if they can roll it out in December, or if it takes a little bit longer, which usually happens. DCing around the noise, very true. Bot, 100% free. Thanks, Bot. Simplified crypto education, D.A.N website, D.A.N teaches crypto. That's true. It is free, 100% free. Always be free. No hype has a point. Everyone thought institutions were going to help. Horrible idea. It is true. It was a lot more fun when it was just a bunch of retail people just buying and selling like crazy and running the price up and then dropping like madness. Those are good times. And now we got all these institutions and sovereign wealth funds and hedge funds, and they're doing everything they can to do whatever manipulation that they possibly do. And we can see it. It's a bummer, but we wanted it. And be careful what you wish for, right? Even I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be great." Moron. Bill says, I haven't bought Bitcoin since FTX. Bought a lot of alts. I really regret that. You know, I mean, if you go back to 2022, but I mean, think of it this way. Why do we have to think about it? Let's just run it through the thing. So when did FTX collapse? November 2022, right? Okay. I think so. Here, let me check the comments. Okay, good enough. So let's see which one outperformed when. Let's go back in time. It is now oh, that's weird. Let's just put Bitcoin up there. It is now back in time in November of 2022. Sam Bankman-Fried is getting drilled in court for the just utter nonsense that he did over at FTX. And everything is collapsing around us, right? So let's just buy Bitcoin, $10 a day from November 2022 to today. And we start with 10 bucks a day. Actually, I got to tell you, you're doing pretty good. For 3 years' time, you're up 184%. You invested $10,450 and you have $29,681. That's at the top. Unfortunately, today, you just doubled your money, which is pretty good. I mean, 3 years, you outdid the S&P 500. Congratulations. So let's take a look at Ethereum. I'm actually quite surprised. So $10 here. And the best you could have done is 107%, but Bitcoin did outperform you and you're only up 36%. Sucks, but what are you going to do? How about XRP? This, I think, I'll be damned. Look at that. I'm always surprised when I do these things. So the best you could have done was, wow, July 22nd, you invested almost $10,000 and you had $54,000. You're up 459%. As of today, though, you're only up 218%. Pretty good. And let's just do one more. Now, two more. Let's see what you're doing. BNB. Very nice. BNB, you doubled your money, but as of today, you're only up 129%. I'll take it. You outperformed Bitcoin. And then Solana, see how bad you're at. Not bad. So you're doing 10 bucks a day. You actually did really good 2 times, 3 times actually. You're up 629% in roughly 2 years. Almost, you're up 600% just a couple months later. And then the most recent, you're up 433%. But as of today, not so hot. But still, it's almost 200%. You're doing almost the same as Bitcoin. So that was a good one, Bill. Again, it just goes to what you bought. Let's see, what's the worst one? The worst one's got to be Polygon. Sorry, Polygon holders. But you had it coming. No, I'm just kidding. So let's see. Oof. You're up 20% in 2 years. Sorry. This is awful. You're only down 57%. You invested $7,500. You have $3,186 and probably acid reflux to show for it. That's a bummer. Anyhow, hope that helped. Yeah. Maxine Waters. Don't know what that is. Meme says, would you buy BNB now? Yes, I would. And unfortunately, it's associated closely with Binance, and people despise Binance. But if you take a look at, again, stablecoin volume, where things are going, that's going to be pretty good. However, I got to tell you, out of the BEST, the ones with the most upside, I think personally, is probably between Ethereum or Solana. And like we just took a look at SoFi yesterday. What were the 3 crypto projects that SoFi, which is the first national chartered bank in America to offer crypto or digital assets to their customers to buy, sell, and hold? It's 3. It is Bitcoin, it is Ethereum, and it's Solana. And those are the only 3 that they started with. They are not a dumb company. They pretty much nailed it with finance. So why did they pick those 3? Now, you have to understand, though, that they said that over the next months and year, we're going to roll out an additional 30. But why did they start with those 3? These are the things that I think about when I'm looking. I'm thinking, which one has the most upside? Not which one is the most decentralized. Which one is the most upside? Hell Sparrow. That's a nice comment for a heck of a handle. Good evening, beautiful people. Very nice. Polkadot would be, yeah, that's true. Should we do it? I think we should. Polkadot. Dr. Gavin Wood. Boy, I got to tell you, that one sounded so good when it first came out. Not bad. I got it better than Matic. So let's see. Or I could be wrong. Let's see. So, well, you're up 108% in a year and a half. What's this? So in 2 years, you're up almost 100%. Congratulations. But as of today, that's not bad. You're down negative 45%. You spend 10,000 and you're at 5,900. Yeah, it could be worse. I'm surprised too. Hello, Ninja. Thanks. Say what? Yep, I hear that. Everything's gonna be free next year. Buses and apartments. It's gonna be awesome. That's what they say. Where's Gem? I talked to her this morning, as a matter of fact, the real one. And she's like, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I thought everybody knew, but I couldn't get a hold of anybody because the way that people connect usually is either through X or Telegram, but I don't trust Telegram at all. So I use X. And I actually saw that that was her correct, because I went to her channel and I sent her a message on her live stream. I said, check your messages. And that's when she contacted me. She was like, oh, I thought everybody knew that my account got hacked. It is what it is. Let's see. What's up, Rod? Let me show some Starknet. Grok told me it's a winner soon, just saying. You know, that's a funny thing, because I just got an email from iTRUST Capital, the one where I do my custody and my Roth IRA. They just listed Starknet, and they were talking about how great it was. This was not planned by me and Road Trip buddies. I'm just saying. They just integrated that into their Roth IRAs and custody service. So I don't know what it does or what it is. Maybe I'll take a look at it at some point. ICP sounded good. Remember ICP? It's supposed to be the next greatest thing of all time. The next world computer. Yeah, that's right. That's pretty much it. Eat steak, buy Bitcoin, touch grass. What else do you need? Especially that big, fatty, like ribeye type of steak. You know, the big, that fat ones with the marbling. Yeah. Too much all I eat. I can't wait to move to someone else's mansion in NYC. Yeah. Well, Days with Wade says staking is not important if there's no price appreciation. Well, think of it this way. Like the normal return on investment, say in like an indices of S&P 500, what are you looking at? Like between 16 and 18%? It's pretty good, right? I mean, for traditional finance, for 16 and 18%, I don't get out of bed for that, especially in crypto. But if you can get like an annual return and it's somewhere between like 4 and 6%, what are the rates of the bonds right now? You know, so if you're like, well, if I want to be risky, I think this will appreciate a little bit. Let's say it appreciates 5% over a year, and I actually get 4 to 6% of my total amount. It does give you a little bit of a cushion, which is better than just holding. It's It's like stocks with dividends. A lot of people, they don't get the stock because of the massive appreciating value. They get the stock because of the dividend that it pays out. And it's a nice little cash flow. So if you think about it and you just kind of go from these little buckets, like I see what you mean, Days, about like, oh, if it doesn't go up, who the hell cares? But if you can get some kind of like return, like a dividend on crypto, sure, let's do it. I did great with DOT in 2021. Stayed away this cycle. Nothing wrong with that. They should list Aster. Yeah, that was going to be the next great one. Not too bad. Sweet action. All crypto ETFs continue to bleed except Solana. Van Life, NVIDIA bust or boom tomorrow. Well, you know, Michael Burry, and there's a lot of controversy around this. You know, the big short guy. He's the one that pretty much did a massive short against all AI companies, including NVIDIA. And then also Peter Thiel, I don't know if you guys knew this, just dumped all of his NVIDIA stock as of yesterday. So that doesn't mean much though. Actually, it might mean something because I don't know if you remember that in 2022, Peter Thiel went to the Miami Bitcoin conference and stood up on stage and said how great Bitcoin was and it was the future and his whole businesses love it and it was going to be the next great thing. He forgot to mention the fact that 6 months prior, he unloaded almost all of his Bitcoin and sold it all. So I think to myself, what did he know? Well, if he got out a little bit early, right? I mean, because our top was in November, but even if he got in like out of April and May, it's pretty good. Didn't hit the absolute top, didn't hit the absolute bottom. So if you're thinking NVIDIA is going to do great tomorrow, it might. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of people who are getting out now. And there was one more big person, I forgot who it was. They dumped their NVIDIA stocks as well. If you guys could help me in the comment section, but that doesn't mean anything. Maybe it just means that they are getting out early, or maybe they are, what is it called, rebalancing their portfolio, as people say. Hey, Robbie, dyed your hair. No, that's all gray. The reason why it looks so dark sometimes is because there's darkness up here. Because right now in Texas, it's 4 o'clock, and it gets a little bit dark here in the pool room or in the green room. So yeah. But no, unfortunately, I am still very gray and getting grayer. You know, if the bear market, I don't know if the bear market is going to happen like you said, Moreland Allen was saying, the reason Bitcoin is down is psychological. Was it? I think it was Raoul Powell, some analyst, who said that the reason why everything's down so much is because everybody is front running Q4 and they're trying to get out before everything collapses because everybody knows about the Bitcoin cycle. And since people, myself included, who keep telling people that it's Q4 or bust. And that's why people have gotten out because they don't want to deal with it. And he says, I think this was Powell, he said that they're going to miss out on all these magnificent gains in Q1 and Q2. Now I can see a little bit of an extension, maybe Q1, especially with what's going on in the current administration. And of course, we're not going to get another rate cut until hopefully December 10th. If we don't get a rate cut on December 10th, watch for the markets to really start to crumble. But then moving into 2026, hopefully we can get the tariff thing behind us. We're going to figure out if there's going to be a stimmy check of $2,000 or not. I don't know what the heck people were talking about as far as M2 money supply, United States and global. Seems like there was nothing but a bunch of funds sloshing around. And you know where it went? Gold. There was, I think it was $4 trillion in a month that went right to gold, and it only trickled into Bitcoin. So I'd like to see it. I still think that we can rally into the end of the year, maybe a Santa Claus rally, but I don't see us getting into like Q3, Q4 of 2026. I'm going to tell you exactly why. It's because there's so much turmoil here in politics in the United States. I don't expect the Republican Party to keep the House and or the Senate, especially with what's happening. And if they lose one of those, then the market's going to be like, wait, there's going to be more turmoil, and you want us to not be a little bit apprehensive about the future of the government, which would then lead to the businesses. If we get a split, I'm not a big political guy. I'm just saying that every midterm year, and we talked about this like 4 or 5 days ago, every single midterm year, which is in between the 4-year cycle, the presidential election, that's when everything crumbles as far as like with not just Bitcoin and altcoins, but traditional markets. So it's really Q4 or bust, or excuse me, Q4, maybe Q1 2026, but going into the later parts of 2026, I don't see them as like the best time to hold everything. Yeah, Peter Thiel sort of, yeah, exactly. Peter Thiel, have a good night. Well, that could be true. I trust Thiel as far as I can throw him. Come on, Rob, your PR friends miss you. Yeah, we'll be there first week of December. Had a family issue, had to come back for a bit, but everything's good. Everything's good. Chicks dig grave with money. My wife doesn't mind it. So that's all that matters. I'm in Texas right now. It's just the same green screen. Let's see. Oh my God. AOC and Crockett 2028. That's a combo. Rob, do you have NVIDIA? I do, and I'm debating if I should dump it before tomorrow's earnings. And I think that's it. And Frosty P says, Thiel is a snake. And that could be true. All right, everybody. I got to get out of here. So, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you hanging out with me for 41 minutes and talking crypto. But that's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow, roughly about the same time. Have a great rest of your day or night. Adios.